welcome to TradeFlash. TradeFlash. The show where we give you the latest high, lows and whoop-de-doos. So what's the big news stories of the day that you need to be aware of right now? What are the biggest movers of the day of stock, currencies, cryptos, commodities, indices and more? So find out everything you need to know in today's episode of TradeFlash. TradeFlash. So let's have a look at the latest news. So let's have a look at the news then. In the UK, a £5 billion scheme for high street shops and hospitality firms in England has been unveiled, with Rishi Sunak promising more support to come from the economy. Ahead of Wednesday's budget, the Chancellor said the grants, worth as much as £18,000 per firm, will help them reopen as England eases lockdown. And in Myanmar then, police have fired upon protesters, killing at least 18. The UN Human Rights Office says on the deadliest day of anti-co-op rallies, deaths were reported in several cities including Yangon, Dawei and Mandalay, as police used live rounds and tear gas. And in the US, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway bought back a record amount of the company's stock, and the buying spree has continued into 2021, according to the conglomerate's annual letter that was released on Saturday morning. During the fourth quarter, the company bought back around 9 billion of the Berkshire shares, bringing the total 2020 repurchase to a record $24.7 billion. So, is Iceland in trouble? Lender HSBC has taken back additional security over some of Iceland's food property and various trademark. The move comes after a wider range of refinancing of its debt this month, and it includes 3 leaseholds and 3 freeholds. Also, in China's factoring activity expanded in February at a slower pace than a month earlier, hitting the lowest level since last May and missing market expectations after brief COVID-19 related disruptions earlier in the year. And in the stock side of things then, so the big movers in the US side was XTNT was up 124.35%, LIXT was up 48%, OCGN was up 36.87%, and FSR was also up 32%. Some of the big raises in the UK market was KBT was up 36.88%, PAT was also up 21.18%, and as you can see from the list there's a few others that were also up as well. The big losers in the US side though, TGC was down 33.24%, TCDA was down at 30.57%, and REPH was also down at 30.14%. In the UK side of things, the big movers there, the big losers were STX was down 23.08%, WPHO was down 17.89%. So let's have a look at the indices then. The S&P 500 is down 0.48%. The Dow 30 also down negative 1.5%. The DAX, that's also down as well, 0.67. The FTSE 100 also down 2.53%. So from the indices point of things are looking down at the moment. So let's have a look at the currencies then. The euro was slightly down against the US dollar at 0.03%. The US dollar was slightly up against the Japanese yen at 0.02%. The British pound was up against the dollar at 0.06%. And the Australian dollar was up against the US dollar at 0.06%. The US dollar was down against the Canadian dollar, 0.14%. And the US dollar was also down against the Swiss franc at 0.03%. And in the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin against the US dollar was down 3.56%. Ethereum was also down at 4.71%. XRP was down 5.15%. And Bitcoin Cash was down 6.68%. Also, Litecoin and IOTA was also down. And in the commodities then, in energy, crude oil was down 3.20%. Natural gas also down 0.22%. Brent oil down 2.34%. Gasoline down 1.31%, and heating oil also down at 2.63%. Looking into the metals, gold was down 2.62%, silver was down 4.47%, and platinum was down 3.75%. Looking into the agricultural side of things, coffee was down 1.82%, Cotton was down 0.96%, soybean also down 0.23%, and generally across the board in commodities everything is down. So let's have a look at the events coming up this week then. As you can see from the list there's quite a few events to keep an eye on. The big events seem to be happening around Thursday and Friday, such as the Fed's Chair Powell speaks, also the average hourly earnings, and non-farm employment change coming up later on in the week. So that's it for today. You are now up to date. I'll be back for tomorrow with more. Remember, like, share and subscribe so you can be bang up to date with TradeFlash. TradeFlash.